"Amani, get inside! What are you doing?" "Leo," she called him. But his name wasn't Leo. Her fingers hit something hard. A rotted wooden box. She ripped it from the ground. Inside, a single faded photograph. Her parents, standing on this exact land, smiling. "This was my home," she whispered, her voice terrifyingly cold. "My mother's grave." She stood, the muddy photo in her hand. He, Alessandro Bianchi, the secret Italian Mafia boss, looked at her, his face pale with a dawning, sickening horror. "Amani, I didn't know," he pleaded. "I swear to you." She looked him in the eye. The kind girl he thought he married, the broken thing he thought he was fixing, was gone. "The girl you married, she was a lie. The only real thing I have is the hate I have for your name and for you." But he didn't know her secret. And she, until this moment, didn't know his. To understand how she found her hate, you must first understand why she clung so desperately to kindness. Flashback. 1 month earlier, it all started with a lie. Amani's lie was her kindness. In her small African village, she was known as the fixer of useless things. Where others saw a 3-legged goat, Amani saw a creature that needed a mended pen. Where others saw a barren patch of land, Amani saw a place that just needed more water. She spent her days mending, tending, and listening to the crazy old woman no one else had time for. The elders saw her as poor in spirit, a strange, quiet girl who wasted her time on the broken. But it wasn't kindness. It was a secret compulsion. Years ago, a great shadow, a foreign mining company had come. It poisoned the river, took the land, and took her parents. She, a small girl, had hidden in the tall grass. She had done nothing. So now, she had to fix everything. Her kindness was a mask for her rage, a desperate daily prayer to undo the one time she had been powerless. Then he came. He was the other useless thing. Leo, the poor white man. He was a ghost, a hollow-eyed stranger who had stumbled into the village months ago, haunted by nightmares he never spoke of. He was a drunk, drinking the local brew, and everyone knew he was just waiting to die. The village chief was a practical man. He grew tired of these two broken problems. "The useless girl will marry the useless foreigner," the chief declared one hot afternoon. "Let the broken take care of the broken." Amani's world, the one she held together with mended fences and kindness, shattered. She was forced into a hut at the very edge of the village, a wife to a man who was more ghost than human. That night, the kind girl vanished. She was just a 19-year-old, her life stolen. She didn't weep. She raged. She picked up a clay water pot, a useless one she had mended, and hurled it against the wall, where it exploded. "Is this it?" she screamed at the ancestors. "I honor you. I listen to the old stories, and you give me this, a sick, silent ghost?" She cried until she was empty, collapsing onto the dirt floor. Leo, who had been shaking in the corner from his withdrawal, didn't flinch at her rage. He'd seen worse. He'd done worse. He stood, his body trembling, and dipped a rag in their water bucket. He walked over to her. He didn't touch her. He didn't speak. He just set the cool, wet rag on her forehead. Amani's anger stopped. Her breath caught. Her sickness, her need to fix, was suddenly met by his. In her, he saw an honest fire he hadn't seen in years. And in him, she didn't just see a ghost. She saw a broken man. It was the first fragile truce, and the beginning of a love that would burn their whole world down. Amani used her kindness as a shield to hide her deepest pain. But how long can you use kindness to hide your rage before the kindness itself becomes the biggest lie of all? The truce, born in rage and sealed with a wet rag, became their new language. Their romance was built in the silence. Amani, driven by her sickness to fix, nursed Leo through the tremors of his withdrawal. She brought him goat milk broth. She cleaned the fever, sweat from his face. And Leo, the ghost, slowly became a man again. The dawn inside him, the grit, began to surface, not as violence, but as protection. When he saw the thatch on their hut was leaking, he spent 2 days reweaving it. When he saw a local hunter, Jelani, taunt Amani in the market, he didn't fight. Jelani, jealous of the prize he'd lost, shoved Leo. "The ghost and the witch girl," he sneered. "What, Mzungu, you cannot even speak?" Leo just looked at him. It was a look that froze Jelani's blood. It was the cold, assessing, empty look of a predator. Leo's eyes flicked to Jelani's belt. "Your knife," Leo said, his voice a low gravel, his English broken, "is falling." Jelani instinctively looked down. In that split second, Leo had taken Amani's hand and was gone. Amani had never felt safer in her life. To fill the quiet nights, she shared the only thing she truly owned, her stories. She told him the African folktales her grandmother had taught her, acting them out with her hands. She told him of Anansi the spider, of the clever tortoise, and of her own family's story. "There was a great shadow that came from the sea," she whispered one night, drawing in the dirt. "It poisoned the river and stole the heart of the village." She drew a small, intricate symbol. "My mother told me this was our heart." The shadow took it. Alessandro, the man who had seen the worst of the world, was captivated by her innocence. He took a piece of stray wood, and for the first time in years, the dawn created. He began to carve. He was healing. She was healing. They were building a life. And that is why the past could not let them be. The shadow returned. A rival mafia boss, Russo, had been hunting Alessandro. He tracked him to this village, and when his scouts saw Alessandro, the terrifying Don, happy, Russo knew he couldn't just kill him. He had to destroy him. He didn't go to Leo. He went to Amani. He found her in the market, holding the small wooden heart Leo had carved for her. Russo, a large man in a clean suit, looked almost alien in the village. "That is beautiful," Russo said, pointing to the carving. "The man who made it." "Leo, yes? He is a man of secrets." "I don't know you," Amani said, backing away. "No, but I know you." Russo smiled, and it was a terrible thing. He threw a faded, laminated newspaper onto her vegetable stall. "And I know him." Amani looked down. It was a photo of a younger Leo, in a fine suit, shaking hands with another man. Behind them, a banner. Bianchi Mining Corp, a new future for Africa. "Bianchi," Russo said, his voice low. "That is his name, Alessandro Bianchi. His family, they are the shadow from your story. The company that took your land. The ones who poisoned your river. His father, the man in the photo, is the one who gave the order that orphaned you." Amani's kindness, the lie she had lived for 10 years, cracked, and the rage she had buried underneath, the guilt of the little girl who hid in the grass, exploded. The man she loved, the man who protected her, he was not just a shadow. He was the shadow. She ran. She ran past Jelani, past the crazy old woman, past the hut he had fixed. She ran to the barren patch of land she was always tending, the place where her old home once stood, and she began to dig. Alessandro, hearing the commotion, found her. He saw the look on her face, and his blood ran cold. He knew he had been found. "Amani!" he yelled, running to her. "What are you doing? Get inside!" She clawed at the wet earth, the rain washing the mud from her hands as fast as it caked them. Her fingers hit a rotted wooden box. She ripped it from the ground. Inside, a single, faded photograph. Her parents. "This was my home," she whispered, her voice terrifyingly cold. "My mother's grave." She stood, the muddy photo in her hand. "Amani, I didn't know," he pleaded. "I swear to you." She looked him in the eye. "The kind girl was gone. The girl you married? She was a lie. The only real thing I have is the hate I have for your name and for you. The truth is a weapon." And Amani's entire life, her love and her hate, have just collided. The man who is her only future is also her entire hated past. What would you do? How do you choose between the love in your heart and the fire of justice in your blood? Can you ever forgive a lie that felt so much like the truth? And so, we are back to that hut in the pouring rain, back to the poor girl and the mafia boss. Amani is holding the proof of his family's sin, her heart shattered by the truth. "The girl you married was a lie," she said, her voice like ice. "The only real thing I have is the hate I have for your name." Alessandro stood there, exposed. The two worst parts of his life, the violence of his past and the one good thing in his present, were colliding. But the past was not done. Just then, the hut door burst open. It was Russo, the rival Don, and his men. "What a beautiful broken home," Russo sneered. He held a satellite phone. "The party is over, Alessandro. This land is rich with coltan. I'm here to finish the job your father started, and this time I won't leave any witnesses." He had the whole village. He had the guns. He had the truth. Alessandro was trapped. He had two choices, both of them a failure. The Don. He could fight. He could unleash the monster he had tried to bury, kill Russo and his men, and prove to Amani he was exactly the killer she hated. The Ghost. He could run. He could use the chaos to escape, saving himself, but abandoning the village and the only woman he ever loved. He would lose her either way. Russo laughed, holding the phone. "I'm calling my partners now. This land is mine." Alessandro looked at Amani. He saw her rage, her pain, and her strength. He made his third choice. He chose her. He didn't make excuses. He didn't beg. He walked to her, his hands open. "My name is Alessandro Bianchi," he said, his voice quiet but strong. "My blood is poison. Your hate is earned. But you are not a lie. You are the heart of this village. And that shadow from your mother's story. How did they beat it?" Amani stared at him, her hate warring with her love. She remembered the folktale. Her eyes widened. They didn't," she whispered, a realization dawning. The heart didn't fight the shadow. It exposed it to the light. Amani's kindness lie fell away. Her rage found a purpose. Her true power wasn't fixing or hating. It was exposing. "The light," Alessandro repeated. He looked at the satellite phone in Russo's hand. Their eyes met. They had a plan. Amani, using her useless knowledge, let out a piercing shriek. "Fire! The chief's hut is on fire!" It was a lie, but it was a perfect one. Russo's men panicked, turned. In that 1 second, Alessandro, using his Don speed, moved. He didn't grab a gun. He grabbed the phone. Russo turned back, his face purple with rage. "You're dead!" "No," Alessandro said, holding the phone. He'd already dialed a number he knew by heart. He hit the speaker button. A cold, powerful voice answered. "Alessandro? What have you done?" It was his father, the original Shadow. Russo froze. "Russo," Alessandro said, his voice like steel. "Tell my father what you are doing. Tell him how you are here to finish the job. Tell him how you are about to defame the Bianchi name by murdering an entire village." Russo's face went white. He was a rival, but he was nothing compared to the old Don. He heard Russo boast, heard the threat, and heard the one thing a mafia boss cannot stand: public, messy dishonor. The satisfying resolution. Alessandro's father didn't send killers. He sent something far more powerful: the light. Within 48 hours, the village was flooded. But not with water, with UN inspectors, with journalists, with lawyers. The Bianchi family, to protect their good name from Russo's slanderous operation, exposed everything. Russo was arrested, his empire ruined, not by a bullet, but by a press release. Months later, the village was quiet. The land, now under international protection, was given back to the elders. It was in Amani's name. She sat by the barren patch of land. Flowers were finally starting to grow. Alessandro sat with her. He was no longer Leo the ghost, and she was no longer Amani the broken fixer. They were just themselves. He was carving a piece of wood. He'd been working on it for weeks. He finished and handed it to her. It wasn't a lion. It wasn't a spider. It was the heart symbol from her mother's folktale. He didn't fix her, and she didn't save him. They just sat together, two whole people, and watched the flowers grow. In the end, this wasn't a story about kindness. It was a story about truth. True love isn't about fixing a broken person. It's not about hiding your own rage behind a kind smile. True love is finding the one person on earth you can be completely, terrifyingly real with. It's about being brave enough to expose your own shadow to their light. So, let me ask you, have you ever had to choose between the family you were born into and the person your heart chose? What would you be willing to expose?